Welcome back to another episode of Games and Thoughts. I am Michael,
And I am Traxton.
and today we are going to be talking about college. In general, what we think of college and the benefits and the downsides and everything. So the first thing I guess we can kind of talk about is the question of how good of a job does the public school system do for like preparing students for college? What do you think about that?
Um, I actually think, at least in my experience, high school did do a pretty decent job preparing for college, but I don't think that's as good of praise as it may sound. Like, I don't think, I don't
What do you
think,
mean?
like, they're very similar formats, right? Like, you're doing very similar things at each level. I think both of them are lacking in very important areas.
Hmm.
But as
I,
far as the overall structure, right? Like I think it's doing a pretty good job. Just kind of copying each other.
yeah, in that regard, I guess, like, the work is pretty much the same, I guess. It's just a little bit heavier in college. When I was thinking about this, I took it more of like, uh, how much information, like, about college did it give you? And I thought they didn't do a good job of it, but I don't know. I was very apathetic, and I didn't really want to go to college, honestly. But
Yeah, I would actually agree with, like, I wasn't at all excited to go to college.
yeah.
It more or less was just
Also, I guess, like, without getting too far off topic, I will say that, like, I hate the happy-go-lucky, like, stereotype of, like, oh yeah, go to college and get that college experience, man. Like,
yeah.
no, that is terrible.
That's a very it's always been a strange platitude that people throw around to me. The college experience, like what do you mean by that?
Yeah.
It's just high
Do you,
school with more freedom.
do you mean like depression?
Right. Well, that's yeah. I mean, that's interesting. Um, I'm not completely up to date on stats, but there a very large portion of first semester college students do suffer from depression.
Yeah, I think I had it. Um, what were your first impressions of college?
Um, just I guess first impressions to back up a little bit. Just the amount of unnecessary things that were being done. Like we had like a 4 day orientation that was basically just a pep rally.
4 days.
Yeah, 4 days,
Okay.
and it's like just so much useless, just pandering to the social networks, I guess. Um, but yeah, and then I had to take a freshman class, which was basically just teaching you how not to screw up too bad at college, I guess.
Yeah.
But just so much unnecessary nonsense, I guess.
Yeah. I remember my orientation was just like one day the summer before, and it was like just terrible. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Again, I wasn't excited about college whatsoever. Um, and then here's these like people and they want you to play like these social games, and they like
Right.
there's this like I think they had like a club fair afterwards or something. I don't know. It was
Right.
like cringe central. I
Yeah.
really did not enjoy it. Um, but yeah, and then the first semester, it was like I was like I was like mid-level, like before college, and it might have been kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy where I knew I didn't really want to go to college, and then as soon as I started going, it was like a really quick downhill because it's very much like a culture shock. Like in high school, you go to school with people. Sometimes you go to the school with the same people for like 12, 13 years, and then the next year you go someplace completely different and you don't know anyone. And that's honestly pretty scary. Um, but yeah, and then I just kind of like existed for a while.
Well, incidentally, like I think that might actually be one of the few good things about college, though, is that one way or another it's going to kind of just throw you out of whatever comfort zone you're in.
Yeah, it'll throw you right into freezing water and you don't know how to swim. So I guess the next thing, do you think electives have benefit?
um, well, I think obviously it depends on the specific class, but as a general rule, no. That's been one of the most annoying things I've had to deal with in college.
Yeah,
Um, well, like the example I gave of the freshman class, like that may have been one of the biggest wastes of times that I've ever ever been through in my life,
yeah,
and it's this mandatory thing. There's also like a mandatory technology course where you have to learn how to use Microsoft Word, and it's like how I mean if you don't know yet, then you're not gonna be doing well.
you better learn soon.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah, I did have like that freshman course where they're like, this is how you be a student. Um, but like electives, I was thinking more like in my program, you have to have like one or two, maybe like two or four, I don't really know. But like they have to be cultural enrichment classes, so like history or like art or like other like uh psychology was a class I took.
Mhm.
And like those are fine in their own right, but like they don't always connect with the program that you're in. And so I think it's like a double-edged sword type of thing where like the happy answer is that they want to expose you to the other subjects in case you don't like the program you're in. But the bad answer is what you said, and that they're wasting your time and your money.
Right. Yeah. Well, I would agree that there's definitely good elective pressures that are put in. Like I took an anthropology class because I had to that I thought was a very good use of my time. But I mean, not all of them are so necessary, and that's the problem.
Yeah. It's like high school students and like pre-calculus or whatever. They're like, when are we gonna use this in our real life? That's like, well, you're probably not.
Right. Yeah. It's I'd say it's synonymous to that.
Okay, so I think we can get this We are at 10 minutes, but I think we can get this one last thing. It's a short thing. What do you believe the value of college is when all of the information is available on the internet?
Um, well, basically, it just forces you to learn the information in ways that the internet can't. Um, like you said, I mean, all the information is basically out there,
Yeah,
but it takes an especially dedicated type of person to actually force themselves to rigorously learn it all. And I think
yeah,
that's really the only function college is serving right now is just making sure people are actually learning things.
yeah. Well, I would kind of argue that, like, if someone is actually, like, interested in a topic, they will research it themselves. How far, I don't really know. That is just kind of like dependent on the job they want to get. Uh, College has made me incredibly cynical, I guess. Um, I kind of just think that, like, the value of college is so that you can get the piece of paper so that you can prove you know what to do.
Right. Yeah. I mean, accreditation is the only goal. Someone could know just as much as a college graduate, but they wouldn't be able to prove it within
Yeah,
a certain amount of time. But I mean, you could sit both candidates down for a week and figure out that they know the exact same amount of information.
yeah. But, like, and another thing, I guess, is like the grading system. Like, if you tried, you could really just like cheese your way through the classes and graduate without knowing a thing.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that kind of just goes back to the class problem of like when you're stuck doing something that's not helpful to you, you're just gonna squeak by.
Yeah. Um, and I guess that about wraps it up. Um, is there anything else you want to say about college?
Um, Not really. I guess just go to school, kids. It's good for you.
I guess I'll say like you should go to school, but you don't have to. College is more of like it's an investment to kind of like fast track yourself on the way. Because theoretically you can like work your way up in a business, but it's going to take like 5 or like 10 years or something. Or you can go to college, spend like $1 million and get a piece of paper and start out like 10 years ahead. So make that choice for yourself.
And I think in defense of college, it can serve as a uh, kind of like a buffer period for personal growth too. Like you're stuck there for 4 years, so you're just probably going to turn out better on the other end if you're paying attention to the right things.
Yeah, that is true. So, we will see you again on the next episode.